Welcome to the Get Published podcast, sponsored by Brodie Consulting Group. To get more information about our coaching, publishing, executive ghostwriting, and podcast production services, go to getpublishedpodcast.com. Hello, I am Paul Brodie, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Get Published podcast, where we help authors get published with a proven system that works. And today we're being joined by Jo Calk, author of Pieces, Help for Your Life Journey. Jo, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be on your show.
Well, we are thrilled to have you. Are you ready to begin?
Yes.
All right. Question number 1. What is the one piece of advice that you would give to a first-time author who is currently writing their book?
Well, for me, iteration is the key. First, I write freely. Just let it flow, uninhibited, free form, whatever comes to my mind, perhaps journaling or however that comes out. Then I go back over it, starting to build sentences, creating structure, selecting more powerful or explicit words, altering some phrases, adding a twist perhaps. Then I go over it a third time, varying sentence structure and correcting obvious typos. Then I go over it a fourth time, proofreading every character and mark of punctuation. For me, it was more than 4 times, but you get the idea.
And what do you feel is the hardest part about getting published?
Being an unknown, first-time author, and not having the confidence that any publisher would ever want my book. So I went the self-publishing route and never even tried to get an agent.
Well, let's talk about marketing. So in regards to marketing, please share a marketing strategy that you have used in your book launch that has worked well.
I appeared on podcasts, telling my story and mentioning my book to others who had similar experiences that I had in my childhood.
And how were you able to get on these different podcasts? What was your strategy for outreach?
I reached out to other survivors of child abuse and organizations that supported them, and I asked to be on their podcast as a survivor of child abuse myself.
And how many different shows did you reach out to?
I tried 5 different shows. One of them I actually became part of, and I'm actually volunteering with now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, speaking of books, I'd like to know what is your favorite book and what was the number one thing that you learned from it?
My favorite book was the first book I ever read in kindergarten. It was called Getting Ready for Brodie. I learned that some people actually have swimming pools in their backyards. But the main thing I learned was that events happen in sequence, and patience is required to make it through the sequence without frustration.
And for a final question, what is your favorite quote and why?
My favorite quote is, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world," by Mahatma Gandhi. All change comes from within us. We cannot change another. We can only change ourselves. We change ourselves and we change our world.
Well, Jo, I want to thank you for being a guest on the show today. What is the best way for people to find you online?
I have a website. It's jocalk.com. It's www.jo-calk.com. And I'd love to hear from people.
Well, Jo, thank you once again for being on the show, and I wish you all the best in your author journey ahead.
And thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thanks again for joining us today. To learn more about how to get your book published with a proven system that works, grab a free copy of my book at getpublishedpodcast.com.